Hello, welcome to Listenable, or welcome back to Listenable. It is the return of multiple things. Dylan and myself in the studio, you being with us, but also my ableist dog Winston is in the studio here.
Guest co-host. Who's this as well? Ari, come here.
Come here.
Put your head up here. Ari.
This is Ari,
Ari.
the golden boy. He's Harriet and Rowan's dog.
Ari Gold, you get it, everyone?
There you go, looking after him for just tonight. And Winston's down here being a good boy. Come here, Winston, the ableist dog. Up you get. There he is.
What do they charge per hour to be here?
Well, I mean, if only I could charge them, but I think it's more taxing on my life than it is on theirs.
You're pretty well behaved. They haven't been. Hello, Winnie.
Yeah, Winnie's in here. Oh, look, he's near your wheelchair.
Likes me a lot better today.
In your
Last
wheelchair.
time we were here, Winnie saw the wheelchair and absolutely crapped his dacks and went in the corner.
He saw the error of his ways. He saw the Instagram that had 30,000 views, and he went, I don't want to be that dog.
Yeah.
And he's made some changes, and we're glad for it.
Hello, buddy.
So hopefully they'll remain quiet in the background. But for those who just watch that on YouTube or our socials, enjoy. We are back, of course, with another guest in the studio. Great to be across from this person. Nominations come in. There's a couple of ways we can do it. Listenable at fromyourpocket.com.au is always the channel that it has to go through. Mm-hmm. So that's where you send information about who you're nominating yourself.
Pretty arduous process to get through it.
Well, there's a lot of people.
Yep.
And we take our hands. There is a team of people who do it. Dylan and myself not really involved. But got this 4:40 p.m. call.
They better beatbox then.
I answer. Yeah.
Right, John Turner.
And I answer it. I get this very excited call from someone who I thought must have known me, or even been family. And it was the mother of today's guest.
How'd the chat go down?
21 minutes. Ooh. I learnt all about not only your life, we'll get to our guest in a second, but their life. Learnt all about trips overseas and accidents that have happened and Indigenous playwrights and music and artistry and
great.
The Noosa hinterland we got into at one point. But the one thing that I took away from this person's mother was the person that we're going to speak to has an incredible story. And so we better let it kick off with letting you introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Emma Tomlinson. I'm an independent artist, professional musician, singer-songwriter, and I'm autistic.
Nice. What's your mum's name?
Danielle.
How do you feel that your mum's so proud and blows up Angus's phone for half an hour?
Well, I mean, I don't blame her. She is honestly iconic. She's like a Kris Jenner of Noosa.
Yeah, okay. The Mamager?
Mamager, but not Mamager.
Okay.
She's secretary to me.
Gotcha. I like that.
Yeah.
Take the reins. But yes, no, she was fantastic. And I think, 5 days later, we found that the slot opened up, your location was perfect, the stars aligned, and we've got you
the
here.
The universe made it.
Yeah. I know a little bit about your story, but obviously I've got to pretend that I don't in some respects. You're autistic.
I am, yes.
You are. I'm trying to. How do I get to the leading question of like the thing that really had my interest? You were selectively mute.
A little bit, yeah, till I was about 4 to 6 years old. So I was diagnosed 6 months after my brother got diagnosed. He's also on the spectrum. And they went, something's a bit interesting about Emma. Let's see how she goes getting diagnosed. And then before they knew it, they diagnosed me with autism spectrum disorder. But back then it was known as Asperger's for the higher end of the spectrum as well. And I had a very monotone, mute voice. And so I'd speak very low and very different to my peers to the point we couldn't really understand what I was saying, and had a very bad speech impediment as well. So in school and also talking to adults but other kids, I just didn't know what I was saying properly.
Selectively mute, that means you chose to be mute? Is that how it works?
Kind of, in a sense. I would say it's more so I didn't really know how to pronounce words as well. And so I found difficulty with my articulation. And it wasn't until I found singing as that voice of sanctuary that I could actually properly communicate as well.
What age was that?
That was 8.
Okay.
How it happened was, so I, in school, I got severely bullied for being autistic because kids back then, they didn't really know exactly what autism was. And especially there was a lack of education around disabilities and neurodiversity of different aspects. And so I used singing as a sense to kind of cover that and, kind of blind the sense that I had a disability, but more so I had an ability to sing. And it wasn't until I was 8 years old, I was performing at the Gold Coast, Performing Arts Centre, doing like some weather medley of Stevie Wonder, and I had this one solo line and I went, that's it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And
How cool is that?
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
cool.
So because you were singing, it kind of internally empowered you to talk more? Like, what was the process for you coming to terms with obviously being different, having disability, but that impact on what music had in terms of you being included in society as well?
So with me being able to sing it was a chance for me to be able to really tell my story, but also to communicate with people on a different level as well, because people connect through music. Everyone connects through music, no matter who they are, where they are in the world and whatnot. And music brings people together. And so as I wasn't able to talk as much, I was able to use a different way of bringing people together, but also listen to me as well. Because in school, I also got severely bullied to the point where people thought that autism was a disease and they didn't want to hang around with me. And so...
Oh, like they'd catch it.
Yeah, they catch it. Or like the mums would be like, oh, don't hang around Emma, you might get autism. It's just like... No, that's not how that works at all. And so, even being in the special education unit as well, or as they call the rainbow room, because spectrum of everything, that was very challenging as well, whilst I was trying to maintain this presence of being like the singer of the school as well, and showing, hey, I'm more than what I am as well. And getting into the opera singing part of that. So when I was about 13, I actually started lessons with Maggie Noonan, who's Katie Noonan's mum, and she is an Australian opera singer. And she taught me how to sing with bel canto, which is Italian for beautiful singing. And that changed my way and perspective of singing for the rest of my life. Like I sing exactly how I do today because of that woman. And I'm so grateful for her as well. And a lot of my music, but also my singing and what I've developed over the years is definitely added to this perspective of people that they don't just see me for my autism, they see me for what I actually can do as well.
So it's not what you can't do, it's what you can do.
It's what you can
greatly.
do. Yeah, exactly.
Angus is actually trained in bel canto singing as well.
Hey,
Go on, mate.
stop it.
Look, this is your episode.
No.
But
I
make
wanna
sure you
hear this.
subscribe, because on the next episode, I will be ripping out a couple of Italian classics on the pod.
Pavarotti?
Pavarotti.
Onde
I was.
partito. That's not him. That's actually
That was beautiful.
Pacelli. But yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, good on you for knowing your different
you
tenors.
know I can sing. Was it just the singing, or did you do kind of speech therapy or anything like that to kind of support? Because you're very articulate now.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all from music and performing arts. So when I was 4 onwards, I think I had for 3 years speech pathology. And then from then at school, I just entered into every single play, every single performance or musical theatre thing that I could do. And that helped. And especially with learning Italian, with the vowels, it also helped me to articulate and have diction more so.
Yeah, I learned that. I just got off this year doing the Rocky Horror Show. And
really?
articulation, not one of my strengths.
Oh, yeah. You mumbled a few narration lines.
No, I was very like really having to put the T's and the D's at the end of every word. It's hard if you're not used to it.
It's hard.
But then it becomes normal. And then I filmed a commercial for a brand and I heard it back and I was like, wow, I'm really articulating there, because it was in the articulation rhythm.
Well, let's hope our caption software picks up your articulation.
But that's how you
better.
talk on stage, mate.
Yeah.
You have to.
You have to.
Yeah, in a live theatre, that's exactly how you talk. And it was really cool. Yeah.
That's so cool.
I've just had this thought, and, I'm an idiot, but with music,
Yeah.
it's the song lyrics.
Yes.
You've rehearsed it.
Yes.
So it's there, but when we're speaking like this, we don't know what's really going to come. You don't know what question we're going to ask next, so therefore there's no rehearsal or preparation for it. Is there something in the fact that, you know what to expect, if that makes sense, with the stutter?
A little bit, yeah. I feel like there's some senses where even in public speaking, I have tended to have a stutter, or even other interviews as well. And then it's when they go, oh, sorry, what was that? I'm like, okay, now I have to repeat myself. And it gets so frustrating. But then when they go, oh, can you sing this? It's like, oh, stuttering's out the window. Did she stutter? Oh, I don't remember her stuttering,
Going back to the very start.
Yes.
You said that you were diagnosed at the age of 4 with ASD.
That's correct.
Autism Spectrum disorder.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the word disorder? I mean, as a language type and terminology.
I wouldn't really say it's a disorder. I'd say it's more of a superpower.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so then when you say it yourself, because that's what you said it, like, does it irk you a little bit that is the terminology, and do you only use it because that's what majority of people would expect that term to be used as?
Yeah, so because I was diagnosed by Tony Atwood, who's the world-leading professor, now retired, of autism and autism research as well, with Michelle Garnett. And so that was the psychological term for using it. But most of these days, everyone just says autism or ASD, or they used to use Asperger's, but now it's just autism. And so using that now as autism spectrum disorder, it's me clinically giving the definition. So that way, because some people actually still don't understand what autism is. And so when I give the full term of it, they go, oh, tell me more. That's interesting. Because when you look at me as well, you don't see that I'm autistic. And that's also the thing that why I use the clinical term, is because that's me breaking the barrier of saying, I know I don't look autistic, but it's not a look. It's a category. It's a subjective of a neurological disability that is an ability to see the world differently.
So weird. What does autism even look like? What a weird thing to say.
Exactly.
Like,
it doesn't have a look. That's the thing. Yeah.
What about are you hypersensitive to sound and noise
Yes.
like some people on the spectrum? Well, you're a bloody opera singer, so how do you go about that?
See, flies, I can't do it.
So flies, no good.
I can't do
opera,
flies.
good.
Yeah, opera, good.
So interesting.
Right. Yeah, and like chalkboards, nah.
How do you go then when you go in studio or you're performing in a loud hall or whatever?
Yeah.
Does it have impact on you then? Not only on stage, but also if you go to watch it and listen to it as well.
Usually I'm quite good. I kind of like zone out. I get tunnel vision when I'm going into a performance, and I kind of just ignore everybody else and I go, okay, cool, that's the main focus. There'll be one bozo in the background like screaming, yeah, and I just have to be like, cool, I'm just here to enjoy it.
Do you wear inners, which is like something in your ear for the people playing at home, which is like, if Taylor Swift's on stage, she's got ears in so she can hear all the instruments. Do you wear that when you perform or do you?
I do. I raw dog it or I do that.
What's better for your sensitivity to noise?
It kind of depends. It depends on where you're performing, the stage you're on, as well as like the sound system as well. If it's like an enclosed room, you don't need it. You're fine. If you're in a massive stadium, say like in Suncorp in Queensland, yes, 100% you need it to hear yourself, especially if I fall back.
And so talking about that sensitivity as well, is there frequencies if you want to break it down? Like, Amelia and I work in audio form waveforms
Who's
all
Amelia?
day. Amelia is our producer.
Shout out to
producer.
Mills.
And we work in frequency. Have you identified a certain frequency that is, the fly frequency?
Well, I haven't actually. What even is that frequency? I feel like there's a certain
It'd be
decibel.
high.
It'd be high.
It'd be a high tone. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, there you go. Why don't I ask you?
Yeah.
We've got Dylan here.
That's like that. That's a fly.
On the fly.
And is there like, do you know how, not to stereotype people with autism or who are autistic, but, people like to use headphones in public spaces to sort of take themselves out and cancel out some of the noise. Is that you in particular? Have you jumped on a flight and recognised takeoff is the fly sound, or is there moments that you've recognised, some intolerance?
No, I've actually kind of built a tolerance to masking how I deal with it in public. So like if there's like a fly mosquito going past, I just have to be like doing the full on eye squint as it goes past. I absolutely hate it. It's kind of like when you hear a metal rod being worked on in a blacksmith shop and it's just that like grinding metal gear. That's probably the most I can clarify being a high decibel sound, or like metal being worked on. That's probably like the highest frequency. So just imagine that in your ear, but it's like the worst searing thing you've ever heard, and it makes me twitch.
It's so weird. That's the same face my partner makes when I get home and want to have a chat.
Get back to work.
Yeah.
What are some of your like workplace adjustments or things that you need in, every musician has a rider, normally filled with alcohol or whatever,
do,
but
yes.
you'd have an accessibility rider of things that you need.
Yeah.
Is there anything specific?
Yeah, usually I opt for a really quiet space because I have to do my opera warm-up. That's, vital, technical, have to do it, 20 minutes, that's it. And a space where I can just kind of, also play Sims. I have a massive obsession for Sims.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. It also gets me in the zone. So when I'm practicing opera, I'm doing two things at once. Doing bloody scales, going up to soprano, and then I've just got like building a house on the side.
Nice. I don't know, Sims is still a thing.
It is.
Me either.
I love it.
Used to play in the old days. Used to build a pool, put your sim in it, take away the ladder.
That's it.
Quite a sick game, to be honest.
But pretty much I go in flight mode, so no one's allowed to contact me as well. And I have to like go, okay, cool. Is everything running on time? Whatnot? Because change with autism, that is like a big red flag. We absolutely hate change. So if there's like structure and whatnot, going, okay, cool. So you've got this, you've got order. Okay, we're on at this time. You're going to be ready by that time. Great. So I know there's like a flow. in a sense.
Your brother and yourself both diagnosed with autism now,
And my mum.
and your mum.
Yeah.
Yes, true. Before we get into your brother, but I guess I'm bringing up your brother to bring up this question first: the spectrum.
Yes.
It's a divisive topic.
Yes.
We've had guests on here who say the spectrum shouldn't exist with autism or who are autistic, and there's others who like to use it as a scale to let people know you might relate to this. Where do you sit on the topic of the spectrum?
Well, I'd say because my brother and I were both high functioning autistics. So I'd say I would be more on the mild side of the spectrum and he's more above the mild side. So if we were going to say there's a ladder, I would probably be at number 2 railing of the ladder and my brother would probably be number 5 railing of the ladder. So there's like 10 parts of the ladder. So I'd say probably there.
Because the word savant was used by your mum when describing your
Savant,
brother.
of course
unfortunately.
it was.
Sorry about that. God, that was so. Like Emma was like, "Oh my God, mum's giving me savant." No, she said about your brother, you're the creative, and he more went down a savant. This is her term.
Yes.
So having a brother.
What does that mean?
I can tell you what
You
your
had the
mum said.
21-minute phone call.
Well, your mum
That's
said that like he really went down the intelligence.
He did. He's very, very intelligent. He is now an evaluator and his thing since he was 1 year old was real estate and houses and everything. Like, for example, when he was 4, we went to SeaWorld. I was in a pram still and the teacher said, "Oh, can you please draw your favourite animal?" He draws the SeaWorld toilet block because he just loved the architecture of it and the design. And that's been his thing. It's been architecture, houses, even drains. Love to inspect our friends' drains. And if it was plastic, it's out.
Wow.
It had to be marble and whatnot.
What's he doing now? Does he work in that industry?
So he is a property evaluator and he also, like myself, graduated from university with business and also I forget the exact term, but it's also to do with evaluation as well. And yeah, he's also going to be going to Bundaberg.
So he is autistic, you're autistic, but then did you use the scale growing up or do you still use it to describe yourselves if somebody was to ask further questions in it? And how do you feel when people in your community tell you don't use this terminology? Because I know that is, like, we'll have someone say, take this down, this is harmful to our community. But, we lived off, this podcast is about your lived experience.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
how do you feel with all of these mixed messages?
It is also very confusing because being the ambassador for Autism Queensland and recent talent for Autism Spectrum Australia, you have to be very careful in a way that you present that as well. So for me, I'm very much so, and I've always been like this. I've always said I'm autistic on the mild end of the spectrum, but still have autism. Of course, it's just at the lower end, it's not as high because everyone obviously presents differently with autism. And then with my brother, he's more on the upper mild end of the spectrum, high functioning. But I'm more vocal about it than he is. And that's just because of his experience with severe bullying as well, that he doesn't usually open himself up a lot about it, which I completely understand because for both of us going through school and trying to explain but also fit in, it just wasn't a thing. There was no one to be like, hey, can we sit down for a second? This is Emma and Brayton, and this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be learning about autism and how they're different with it, but also the other students. And this is how we can advocate for them in our classrooms. It never happened. And so with us, we just had to go, okay, we are on the spectrum. This is part of how we deal with being on the spectrum and how we recognize and the challenges we face. And this is how we need to get supported. And so that's always been the introductory we've had to give pretty much all our lives, for 20 years of our lives, really.
Do you reckon having your disability has impacted what you can do in the industry? Do you have people that maybe don't give you an opportunity because I think it might be hard work, or have you found that it's been pretty inclusive?
Yes, 100%. Being also a musical theatre performer, I've had a lot of knockdowns from cruise ships, and that is because they're like, oh, will she be okay? It's like, yeah, I will be okay because I'm able to do what I can do. You ask me to audition for a song and I nail that song that no one else goes for, or I'll be coming in the room and they'll say, oh, what else can you perform for us? And I go, well, actually, you've got a piano. Can pianists get up and can I perform House of the Rising Sun? And I do it. But then they go, oh, we've just looked you up. We're not really sure if this is going to work out, or they just I don't hear from them at all. And so there's still that discrimination in the performing arts industry. And I was part of a panel recently for Arts Queensland where they were talking about arts and disability and how there's still that sense of we're not being seen enough, but there's also not enough for us to be able to do what we do with that support, but also putting in requirements that we need so we can be amazing. Because you look at an industry, anyone that's amazing in it, they've got autism. It's always the best people, like especially celebrities as well, who do just amazing and performing arts, but globally, they are on some part of the spectrum and it's just not seen enough.
Disclaimer for the public, it really annoys you when random able-bodied people say,
yeah,
they're a bit on the spectrum. It's like, shut up.
Oh, shut up.
I just call people out now. Oh, yeah, this one person that I dealt with in my life, I reckon they're on. I'm like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? How do you know?
Don't diagnose anybody. It really
happens
annoys
a
me.
lot.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
It
I think it
does.
happens like 5 times a week with people. Oh, yeah, they're a bit weird. I reckon they're a bit on the, I go, on the spectrum. They go, yeah, okay. How do you know that?
How do you know that?
Don't say that.
Don't say that.
Yeah, they could just be whatever.
They just be themselves.
Yeah.
They're just in their own world, doing their own thing.
Or just not on the spectrum.
Yeah,
You're just a
exactly.
different person. That's what most of the
Well,
cases
he's completely wrong.
You're just completely wrong.
Yeah.
That's the main one.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got to single out Electric Blue. So
I do.
Songwriting as well as singing.
Yes.
Tell us about your music and your inspiration. Does your disability come into any of the lyrics that you speak about?
100%. I'd say before I wrote Electric Blue, actually no, Electric Blue used to be called Purple Dream back when I was 18. But when I wrote Sour Heart, which I released last year, that was a song that empowered around women with autism, considering autism in women is seen so differently than men with autism, especially boys and girls. It depends.
What do you mean?
That's interesting.
So in a sense where it's more heightened in males than it is females. And there's been a psychological study and test on it where women are susceptible to masking with autism over men with autism. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So most of my life, I've just been dealing with masking a lot of the time. And that includes like covering up how I laugh because I have this really weird laugh. It's like a duck seal laugh, but no one will hear it because that's not normal for people to hear. No, that's the masking laugh.
Okay, so you mask that laugh. That is your masked
That's
laugh.
my masked laugh. Yeah.
Right. So that's just so interesting.
Yeah.
And so do you think that society treats people or men and women differently with autism?
Yes. 100%.
It's not just your point. You've got the stat to back it up. But what's your experience been? Is that directly with your brother or just speaking to other people who are
It's been
autistic?
speaking with other people, especially in the arts as well. I tend to, like, if I don't need to mention them that I'm autistic, I won't. But if they do ask, they go, oh, we saw this article you wrote or we've seen you in this. Are you autistic? You don't look autistic. And I was like, it's not a look, but yes, I am. And that's just because I mask really well. I perform every day. I literally am acting every day. It's great.
That's a good point.
It's an interesting way of putting it,
Yeah. But do you want to be your authentic self?
Yeah.
100%. I want that sealed duck laugh to come out.
I was
all the
going to
time.
say.
Why don't you?
I feel there's just so much judgment, and especially in high school, I did get a lot of judgment as well, especially being able to perform and sing as, one of the singers who was part of Channel 10 with Create Generation and doing Australian of the Year, singing National Anthem and whatnot, and also doing music as part of my career. I've just had so much judgment come from peers being like, I don't know, a form of jealousy, but it's also come out in a sense where they put me down so much. And so with also being self-managed as well and doing a lot of what I do and gotten to where I am as well, because of just me, I've had to hide a lot of myself. And it's not only until I'm 24 that I've really had to go, you know what, I need to be more of my authentic self to come to be me. Exactly. And especially living with a nerve injury, hence why I got this fancy Michael Jackson glove going on that had a rip on the way here. We love that. And so living also with a chronic nerve injury, I've had to hide that as well because it's just not a part of the norm of being an artist. But then what is a part of the norm of being an artist, even if you have a disability as an artist as well? And so I only find now we're scratching the surface of breaking that barrier, and I'm coming to understand that more for myself as well. So then people go, we want to hire her, or we want to work with her, or we want to hear her music because that's different. And so, yeah, I'd say there's just so much judgment as well when it comes around to really being who you are in industry. And it's, I don't know how to explain it.
Is part of the reason you're self-managed and independent artist so you can control that your own destiny a little
100%.
bit?
100%.
Would you want to go into a big label if opportunity, popped itself up, or do you like the way that you're doing it?
I definitely would love to go into a label and be able to be hired for who I am. And especially if they can go, cool, we want to emphasize this and that. So that way, there's some other little girl, little boy looking up to me like, oh my God, she has autism like me. I want to be like that. That's my end goal. If I can be out there with my advocacy for then those who are in school and who look up to me and listen to my music, then that I'm winning, 100% winning. But not for me, but for them and families who also look up to me as well.
Going into that masking story again, do you think, like, reflecting on, you're 24 now?
Yep.
So, like, 14-year-old you, can you see, and to quote, fellow songwriter and lyricist Future, can you see that mask off coming?
That's the laugh. I just did it.
I got a little bit.
I got a little bit.
It's coming off.
It's coming off.
See, look at the thing.
This is Future. They got me good.
It's literally a song with like 6 letters.
Mask off. Mask off.
Mask off.
But can you see over the last decade, you slowly letting your guard and mask down a little bit? And do you see yourself in 34 years, at the age of 34, allowing yourself to have your
100%.
duck laugh?
Absolutely. Especially because I get very Australian when I get very into my music. And so I want more of that to come out because I'm very proud of who I am. I'm very proud of my music. I'm very proud of myself as an artist. And so I want to continue that representation by peeling off the mask instead of being like Phantom,
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
So you're an opera singer,
I
but
am.
what kind of music are you releasing?
So it is pop classical crossover.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to give us a bit of Electric Blue right now?
Oh, God.
Oh, okay.
Dylan, you can do it. Love it, by the way.
I literally had Manuka honey and hot water before I came in.
goodness. She knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming.
All right.
Okay,
Go for it.
pre-warning how I do get loud.
That's the point.
That's the point.
That's warning for you, Mills. Ride the faders.
Yes, literally. Alrighty.
Live mixing.
Here we go.
Okay.
You do whatever you want.
Okay.
We won't- We won't stare at you
Yeah,
in
I'm
the
going
eyes.
to look down at the notes.
Yeah. Alrighty. Mine, always mine, mine.
I'm
Oh,
so
no.
sorry. Both dogs just
Go
got up
Longton.
just to investigate. Both dogs, Ari and Winston, have both gone over to go, g'day, mate. What's on?
That was
What are you doing?
awesome.
Well done.
Oh, no warm up. That's
Pretty
great.
bloody good. Jeez, the vocal range. Shush.
I know.
Well, thank
Awesome.
you. I should
No, thank
The
you.
dogs ran to you and we're like, what is
Yeah.
happening here?
I mean, I can keep going.
Beautiful stuff. No, we love that.
We'll chuck a link below so you can check out the full thing. That's wonderful. Thank you. The Bowl of Uncomfortable. It's a segment that we do on our podcast.
Okay.
It's at the end of every episode. It's where people send us questions. And they might be directed directly to you, Emma, knowing that you're going to come into the studio. They might be based on, for the next guest, who's autistic.
Yep.
Might just be a random question about disability.
Amazing.
I'll go first.
Great.
From Erin. Erin said, after telling my parents about my recent autism diagnosis, my dad, who is a bit old school, has verbally commented that he believes autism doesn't really exist. How do I get him to listen?
Talk to me.
Yeah.
Give me a call.
Now, what would you say? Because obviously she wants to get her parents on side, just be supportive.
I would probably say, tell them that there is support groups out there, but also show them, where's she from exactly?
Erin is from, not sure.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's just,
Alrighty.
just outside of New South Wales.
Well, I would say there's definitely ways of educating parents around their kids with autism as well, considering there are so many people who are getting so late diagnosed in their 20s and late 20s. So I believe, share with them that you want to get diagnosed, but also Autism Spectrum Australia, but also Autism Queensland, they have great ways of explaining to explaining to parents exactly what is going on with their child, and especially how they see the world as well. And there's really, really great programs as well that they can access as well. So I guess it's just for her to really say, this is me, and if you want to learn more about me, this is what you are able to find. But also, a lot of my music I use as a way and tool. And I've had parents and teachers actually reach out to me and be like, this has been great for me telling my family about my autism, but also being accepted for autism. So yeah.
Great. Also, great podcast called Listenable.
Listenable, yes.
Yeah,
That's also a way.
subscribe your dad, Aaron.
Good call
Yes.
there. This one is anonymous. Do you think of the two spectrums, your brother won out getting the Rain Man version? Now, FYI, I'm going to point this out. I'm reading this verbatim and we can talk about language afterwards if necessary. I wrote that down after reading that question.
Okay, great. Perfect. I would just say he definitely, he is who he is and I love him for who he is. And I think that he won. He's amazing. There are so many people that are in his field that he does better than. And so I wouldn't change him for the world. And I think that he is the better Rain Man. Yeah. The best way to put it.
Superpower, as you said at the start.
Superpower. It is,
There it is.
100%.
@Emma_Tomlinson_. Thank you very much for coming on, Emma. We appreciate your mum for passing on your details. I appreciate the 20
Thanks, Mum.
Keep singing, Emma. You got a
conversation.
beautiful voice. Good on
Yeah.
ya.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.